As promised, I'm going to show you how to use a sling or a wrap to carry and support your baby. As I don't actually have a sling or a wrap in the house anymore, I'm going to show you with my kilt, which is typically 6 yards long, of woven fabric. My kilt is a bit wider than a sling would be, but I've folded it a couple of times so I can show you like it would be with a sling. There's two different pieces of or types of sling. You can get woven fabric, like my kilt, that doesn't stretch, or you can get stretchy fabric. The reason for the stretch is that it does make it easier to get your baby in and out of your sling during the day, but it does mean that it's a bit less supportive, and also it doesn't tend to last as long. So I recommend using not too much stretch so that you have good support for your baby and it's nice and secure, and it'll last you longer as well. There's many different ways of using a sling to support your baby. There's also, you can use shorter pieces of fabric. There's a good way of using a piece of fabric that's only 2 yards long, which is also very good. If interested, I can make a video of that as well if people request it. But I wanted to show you this way because it's an easy way and it's versatile. You can use it for older children as well, many different positions, as well as newborn. And it's a good way to start with. Also, I recommend, I'm not going to show you in my bare chest, but I strongly recommend you do this skin to skin. You with bare skin and your baby with bare skin, because it will be very good for feedback and for communication. Also, it's possible to nurse, if you're breastfeeding, to nurse your baby in the sling. You may have to bring your baby a bit lower when you do that, and you can always then make the sling tighter again to bring the baby back up. First thing you need to do is find the middle of your sling. If you've got a bought sling, there's usually a label on it, or if you've got a woven piece of fabric and there's no label on it, you could make a mark on it or tie something around it, or sew something onto it. Find the middle by folding it in the middle. And then, so you put the middle on your tummy, and then you're going to pull one end over one shoulder and the other end goes back and round over your other shoulder. Okay, and then some people, there's a way that you can now put your baby in here, and then you tie these pieces under your baby and tie it round the back. That's one way of doing it, which is good also, but I'm going to show you the way where these go behind that piece, because I find it easier as a way to start with. Once you know this way, you could experiment with other ways by looking up how to do it, or again, if requested, I can make a video of it to show. But I'm going to show you this way first. So I've put it through, and then you cross it over and cross it round the back, and then you either tie it at the back, or if you've got enough fabric, it's easier to bring it round to the front and tie it here. Only what you need to make sure is that you make 2 knots to make it secure. 1 knot is not secure, so if you don't have enough fabric to tie at the front, tie it at the back. Okay, and then you're ready to put your baby in. Important is that your baby's going to go in first at the with a cross that is at closest to your skin. But I would recommend not always doing it the same way, because although your baby will more or less sit in the middle, will tend to turn one way with this side to the back, and the head will tend to turn more the other way. Or if your therapist recommends one side more than another, then do that. But otherwise, I would recommend swapping, just as I recommended in my other video, not to always carry and hold your baby on the same arm, but swap that. Then you hold your baby at your opposite shoulder, and first put the legs in your sling, and then arm and the rest of the body. So with a newborn, keep the legs together, unless your therapist recommends for your baby to have the legs apart. Particularly at a young age, keep the legs close together. And so one piece over, and then you pull the other cross fabric over, and finally the middle piece you pull across. Okay, and then that's your baby sitting securely in your sling. And rule of thumb is that if you can kiss your baby's head, it's in a good position. But you can see, for if you were to breastfeed for nursing, your baby would be sitting a little bit too high. Now what you can do is untie, but you don't need to untie everything. You just loosen it a little bit, let your baby come down to the right level, and then tighten everything around your baby and tie it off again. And you can do the opposite again to get your baby higher after nursing. Okay, I hope this was useful.